Welcome to the Not So Kind Regards podcast. I'm Maddie Birdcage.
And I'm Caroline Moss.
We are done with the digital fluff and pleasantries.
And we're here to talk straight about brand building, digital marketing, and personal growth.
Welcome back to another episode of the Not So Kind Regards podcast. In today's episode, I'm switching the tables and I'm going to be interviewing Caroline about what she does here at Birdcage, what she knows as a marketer. So this is specifically an episode for other marketers or other freelancers. You're going to get a lot out of this. But if you are a brand owner or a content creator as well, I know that Caroline has a lot of advice in terms of starting out with content creation and overcoming yourself and your own imposter syndrome when it comes to posting online. So make sure you stick around for this episode.
Thanks for having me, Maddie.
The first thing I would really like to do in this episode is focus on your experience as a freelancer, because that's what you were doing before I found you, and really understand the biggest challenges that freelancers have, because I feel as though you could go back in time now to your old self and provide a lot of advice and insight, even though technically you're not freelancing anymore, that you know from helping me run this company what it now takes in order to run a business.
100%.
And from working with the business a single day. So talk to me, why did you become a freelancer in the first place?
I was traveling Australia. I wanted to keep my skills fresh while I was traveling because I was petrified that I left my corporate marketing job for local government and no one was going to hire me afterwards after taking like 2-3 years off. And then COVID happened. And so I said, well, I'm stuck. Let me go all in on this.
It's funny how at the time you were probably super stressed about the whole thing, but it's been like the best thing that could have happened.
Definitely.
So talk to me about what your experience as a freelancer was like, in the day to day.
I mean, being a freelancer is hard because you come, like me personally, I came from so much experience and so much confidence in what I did. All of a sudden feeling like a complete newbie, undercharging myself, not knowing how to package myself, I was a marketing generalist. Like I had a lot of copywriting, writing background, social media marketing background, email marketing, but I did not know how to package that as a service.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd do everything for anyone. Just come talk to me and we'll figure it out. Kind of like what I do now, but we have a structure around it.
Yeah. So how long were you a freelancer for?
I've always done freelancing outside of my 9-to-5 and then traveling. We started traveling in 2018 and then I started working for Birdcage in 2020.
How did you go about finding new clients?
Social media. So I tried pretty much all of the websites, the Upworks and everything. I got rejected from a lot of them because they said they had too many marketing generalists. I tried all of the websites that find you work. None of them were really working for me. So I said, well, I need to build myself a website. I need to get on social media. I need to market myself. And then they all came through Instagram.
Yeah, social media has always been the way to go. If you could go back and tell your freelancer self all the things that she's doing wrong, what would the top 3 be?
There's so many.
We'll start rattling off the list then.
I mean, one of them is I would spend like a whole day trying to write one caption for Instagram because I knew it would bring me clients instead of building out an onboarding system, instead of looking at my processes, instead of figuring out how to package myself. Another thing would be to invest money in learning these things instead of trying to get all this free information from just social media posts. Like I was where everybody starts with, oh my gosh, there's so much to do in marketing. There's so many free things. I downloaded like 100 lead magnets. Like I was like, I can figure this out. I'm a marketer. And you just feel like so overwhelmed. And then you don't take action because you feel like there's so many things you need to be focusing on.
I think that's a real trap I still fall into where I'm like, I don't need to invest in this person's course. I'm a marketer. I can read between the lines. I can figure it out. I still do it. And I paid $800 for a course that I found yesterday. And I'm like, oh, that's right. It's a lot easier when you just pay.
Yeah.
Just get all the information rather than having to read between the lines.
And you have it packaged up in a way that's digestible.
Value. So I guess the business side of things that you maybe struggled with, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I was good at attracting clients. Were they the right clients? No. I was good at getting them to sign on with me too, like creating the sales. But
do you think because you were cheap?
Yeah, 100%. And then I was like, I just want to get them in the door. And then the next month, like I'll charge more and I'll raise my prices and I'll quote a bigger package. And then they would ghost me after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's hard doing it all on your own. I would have really benefited from some kind of coach. I eventually did purchase a mastermind And that was right before I started. Like I was already contracting for you for Birdcage, but I wasn't a permanent employee yet. And I invested in a mastermind, and then it kind of like blew my mind open about all these things within marketing and marketing funnels and systems. And then it just gave me the knowledge to be a better employee and to work for you.
When you decided to come on as an employee, and be quite an open question, do you feel like you failed as a freelancer?
There was definitely a big identity shift that happened there. I think we had an arrangement where I could still take on clients, but it was hard to do that on top of the workload that I had. And I didn't really know what direction I was going. And definitely I stopped posting on social media then, because I was like, I don't really need client attractions. I don't need to build my personal brand.
It blows my mind that I still let my employees work with like other clients, because that's a
You used
lesson.
to.
I know I did. But that's because I was like, oh no, I don't want to stop you from doing what you want to do. Now that's a big rule that I have. No, if you're an employee, you're seeing the inner workings. There's no way.
It's just too messy.
It's too messy. And it's like, obviously, you are a highly ethical person. I trust you. And there's never been moments where I felt there was any conflict. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here today. But as we know, there were a lot of other employees where there were conflicts of interest happening. And it's like, well, if I was letting employees have external work, then
External work in the same field.
Yeah. It's different if you're like, if you were doing like party planning. I'm not doing party planning. You go do your birthday party planning. I don't really care about that. So talk to me about, this identity crisis then.
Well, you try to build up this confidence and this kind of ego, I guess, and brand on social media as a freelancer and attract people. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, my books are closing, or I'm changing my offers. And I did like this whole announcement post, and I was excited about it. But then I think that creative outlet kind of fizzled for me, and I missed it, and I didn't realize how much I missed it.
Yeah.
And that's why when Maddie's kind of lit the fire in me again to build my personal brand, and I'm really enjoying that.
If I could have it my way, every single one of you guys would have your own personal brand through TikTok, through Instagram, whatever it is, in whatever areas brings you joy. Like, it doesn't have to be marketing. It's why I also incentivize you guys with like the affiliate program, and you get a nice chunky percentage of sales if sales come through your affiliate link. I agree. I think it makes you better at your job.
It makes me empathetic to what my clients go through, and I know exactly what they're thinking when they're trying to plan content, when they're trying to post it, when they have something flop, when they have something do well. Like I heard another marketing podcaster the other day is just like, when you have a post do really well, there's nothing that happens in your mind. You're just like, la da da, I'll do that again. But the opposite of what happens when you have a post do well. Yeah, that's the opposite of what happens. When a post does well, you're like, oh crap, I got to do this again and again. How am I going to do this again?
And then every time you go into your phone, it's just like so many comments.
And you're like, I'm so tired of talking about this. It's draining.
Yeah, I think it's draining. I think it's terrible to do for a post to do well. Maybe that is why I actually was still okay with people taking on clients, because maybe what I was hoping for was that this feeling of entrepreneurship. But it was just, I obviously did it in the wrong way at first by allowing conflicts of interest like that to happen. I think the way that it's done now, where it's like, it's like have your personal brand, but just let's be very clear, like all client work belongs to the business. So we have a course, MBA, Marketing Boss Academy, which is a course that's in Birdcage Marketing School that is designed for freelance and agency marketers to supplement what they do in the full library as well. So it doesn't replace, ideally they're done together. The full library teaches you how to market. MBA teaches you how to run a marketing business profitably. And it's basically all the learnings that I had to go through, figure out how to make a profitable, happy business. It's mainly freelancers or very small agency owners that come through there. And they're all just riddled with self-doubt. Why?
Well, I think it's all of my mentorship clients as well. And most of them are business owners, successful business owners. We compare ourselves. We believe the highlights on social media that people say and make it look so easy. Think about how much self-doubt we have in ourselves, but you see your best friend and you're like, wow, she looks amazing. She looks this, she looks that. You would never say the things that you say to her, that you say to yourself to her. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
We're so much more critical of ourselves, and we could dive into, what media tells us and playing into pain points and that we're not worthy. And that's why we have to buy more and more stuff.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take some responsibility as well and go, well, buck stops here. I'm going to work on my headspace.
Yeah. I mean, I never identified as a freelancer, even though I was.
When you had
first started.
You're a solopreneur agency owner.
I was so hung up on, no, we're an agency with staff, and I fake photos of people and be like, these are all our staff, and have all these different emails, accounts. All of these.
I didn't know this.
They were all, you didn't know this? They were all coming back to me. And then, like, if they're emailed, the accounts email, I'd be like, I'll check with Maddie on this. I had a real hang up. I didn't want to be a solo. I didn't want to be a freelancer. I didn't want to be a solo person. I didn't even really know what a freelancer was back then. I thought freelancers were like writers.
Yeah, well, that's what I was. I did like real estate writing.
Yeah.
Different types of writing. Like I did writing for magazines.
Yeah.
And then I was like, got to a point and I was like, nobody wants to pay for writing. What else can I learn? I knew I didn't want to do social media marketing.
I know, I didn't either.
I've done it like within businesses. Yeah. And I love consulting on it, but I don't.
I just thought social media marketing was pure fluff. It was for all the aesthetic, fluffy girlies. And here I am, and content creation is one of the most complex forms of marketing.
And you're a master at organic content.
Wow. The biggest challenge I had was the self-doubt and this idea of like there was no one to bounce ideas off.
That's it. You have no one to cheer you on. You have no one to hype you up. You have no one to go, oh, that client is in the wrong and you're right. Not that we love to be in that position and just poo-poo on our clients, but at the same time it's so good having a team. When I started working with Birdcage and just having someone else to back me up or teach me things, or it was just like, it changed everything.
I mean, we don't really have those problems now because we don't really have client problems anymore. But when you're in your early days, you are going to have a lot of client problems. You're trying to figure all of this out. And then for you to be questioning, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? You know, who's in the right, who's in the wrong? It's really stressful. It's really exhausting. I reckon that's why I got that first round of burnout, because I was just so freaking drained by things. It wasn't until I hired Jess one day a week where she was like, no, that's really good. And I felt confident sending something to a client. Like it made such a difference. Our next evolution of MBA is going to be some sort of group program. You will have to have done the course to then go into like the next level. But I want it to almost feel like this, like it is like your own team kind of. You're still like working.
Rather than like a mastermind, it's like a think tank.
Yeah.
Like a group brainstorming. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, oh, I got this, not so great feedback from the client. Do you think how should I go about this? I mean, we've seen it all, so I can pretty much give every strategy. And that's also what we teach in MBA. It's all different strategies, dealing with clients, hiring staff, like all of that kind of stuff. What do you think is the most valuable thing that a freelancer or a new small agency owner, what is the most valuable thing for them to learn in their early stages?
I think it's how to understand their audience, how to like package their offers.
You reckon?
Both pricing, it's systems, it's
you mean everything?
I mean, I feel like that was my downfall, was understanding how to package myself. Like, you don't realize that half your week is admin work and that's not billable. So you need to price yourself based on that. And that was my downfall.
Yeah.
So you either have 40 hours a week of client work and you're not doing any marketing on your business and you're not, doing any admin work, or you price yourself accordingly.
Yeah. How low is too low?
I think you should charge double of what you probably would make in an office job, right? Because you're paying your own superannuation or your 401k, whatever you want to call it. You need to about 20 to 50% of your week is admin and marketing. So
pay for equipment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you often need insurances.
You need software.
Software costs are always been.
You want to have some room in the budget to outsource something.
Yeah. I started charging 60 Australian an hour when I started. I think it's important that my biggest advice with pricing, this is stuff I go into detail, but there's 3 different ways of pricing. That if you're looking at the hourly pricing, well, not hourly, if you're looking at any sort of pricing, you need to believe that people are going to pay that money or you'll never sign a client. And that is where it's like this mindset work comes into play as well. If you only believe you are worth $60 an hour, that's all you're going to make. Even if you promote yourself at $120 an hour, you're not going to make a sale because you're not going to be able to like.
You don't believe in yourself, so how is someone else going to believe in you?
Confidently quote pricing, you think it's too expensive.
I think a big mindset shift there is like, I always underestimate how much money people have, or like, you know, you think they say, oh, I'm at my business kind of in a tough place, blah, 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 because they're trying to negotiate with you. But you know that you can get results, or you know that this is an important part of their business. And you're coming with that mindset to the call that I'm helping you. Yes, you're paying me, but I'm helping you.
Yeah. So to answer the question, what do you think is the most important thing for a freelancer? What are you saying? Are you saying business?
I think I'm saying mindset. Yeah. I think I am saying mindset.
Yeah.
Because you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what you're selling. Everything stems from that. Your sales, your marketing, your building your brand, your hiring, your having tough conversations, you pricing yourself.
I saw a quote, or I saw someone post on a reel like last night. It was something like, you'll be so thankful when you realized you were your biggest problem. And it's like, yes, like we think, oh no, I need to, it's my sales system, it's this, it's the economy, it's this thing, it's that thing, it's my kids, it's my family. No, it's you.
But it's also, it's you in that you're holding yourself back and not identifying where you need support. Not just you and you need to get better and you need to beat yourself up more and you need to criticize yourself more. It's like you need to have that more self-worth. Yeah, and cheer yourself on and have more self-care.
Yeah, that's what it is. You need to treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend in business is the biggest thing. The next biggest thing I'd say, signature framework. I always knew it was a thing because I was coining these terms 5 years ago, try to like package what we do up into a signature framework, and people wouldn't even want to do that. We had all these different names and iterations of what the framework looked like. It always looks like a funnel. It always looks like it does now. But it's just in its best shape.
Yeah, it just keeps evolving.
What I always say is, if you're a freelance marketer and a small agency owner, you've come through the full library, you've come through MBA, take our framework. Be our guest. Take our framework. Don't completely rip us off. Like maybe throw some of your own elements in here and there of what you believe yourself. But it's like, that's why I freely share this information. Because if I had a framework like this, I would have saved myself so much heartache over the years.
And if you can identify that this is a good framework, but you're just one person, that shows you that you need to make other connections, or, you know, like you can't do everything well that's within our framework because it's every piece of your marketing.
That's why we have different people. That's why we have all these specialists in our team, because not one person can do it. I tried. I developed this.
I tried as well.
Yeah.
I tried as well with copywriting and ads, but then I kept seeing that a business can't just rely on their ads to work, just their copywriting to work. They need the organic social media happening. They need the emails happening. I wanted to do it all because I like it all.
I have done everything in the agency at one point or another.
But you could pretty much only have 1 or 2 clients if you did that.
I didn't, and that's why I'm so burnt out.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's transition into a little bit of the content creation stuff, because you have really been on a journey in the last couple of months, especially, I guess, since you've been back from maternity leave. Since you came back, the agency feels like a completely different place, really.
100%.
And TikTok has been such a big driver, and I love the fact that you've been so ready to jump on board this new platform and, face your own reservations in order to get things done. So what I'd love to hear is, you are a marketer with 14, 15 years of experience. You mentor other people on how they should create content for their business. How do you then show up starting from scratch and not feel completely under pressure to perform?
I mean, I do feel complete pressure to perform. I feel a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be an expert. Is everyone judging me? And that's something I'm working through, is going, well, everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And most of my clients are experts in their field, or they have product-based businesses and they're really good at them, but they're starting something new. They're coming up against some kind of wall. And you can't compare yourself to people who have been doing it for 3 years, 6 years, some people have been creating content for 10 years and they're new to TikTok, but they've been creating content for 10 years, so they're really good at it already.
Yeah.
Like Maddie is really good at TikTok, even though she's only been on for a year and a half, because she's been doing Instagram content for the agency for a long time. She's really developed that skill and muscle. And that's what it is. It's a skill. It's not I'm just bad at this.
Yeah.
It's a skill. And that's the mindset that I'm taking now, is this is just a skill that I need to and want to develop.
And so what gives you the authority then to be coaching other people on their content?
When I do coach people on their content, it's really good content because I'm speaking to people who feel the energy in their business. They feel excited about what they're selling to people. They know what they're selling, and we get really super clear on their message. And a lot of times they come to me and go, I can put myself out there. I'm fine to do that. I just need clarity. I need to know who I'm speaking to. And we uncover that. And I think I'm back in that place where I was as a freelancer, where all I want is clarity, and I keep getting in my own way.
Yeah.
Or I keep reworking the strategy instead of taking action, things like that. So that's something I'm working through right now.
I agree. I actually think that being someone who's so good at strategy, like we both are, and someone who's so obsessed with messaging, like we both are, it can put a real handbrake on actual execution. Because if things aren't working the way we want them to, rather than just trying different ways, we go back to strategy, which is what you should be doing. But it's almost like it's our safe place. And so then we start overthinking. Then we start diluting our message. Then what we need is an external person, someone who's obviously still has knowledge, but sits outside of your own head to give you perspective. And that's what I really find value in when we collaborate on things. It's not necessarily about knowing. You don't need to know how to create videos that get a million views you don't need to know that information. You have had videos hit over millions of views, but it's like the value of a mentor and a coach is not so much in being able to do the thing. It's being able to get the person you are coaching to do the thing.
You told me a really good quote that I've written down. I look at every single day, and it said, your coach's job is to hold your vision.
Yes.
So it's my job to just bring them back up. On our very first call, I always say, what is your business goal, brand goal, short-term, long-term? And then I say, what is your goal from working with me? And so I always bring them back to those things, because some people it's to hit a certain revenue mark. Some people it's literally just to gain clarity. Some people it's, there's a bunch of different reasons that people come, and I always bring them back to that.
Definitely. It is. That's what it is. Something I've discovered in this process of going from agency to educator and coach and everything in between, just because you know how to do the marketing doesn't mean you're good at teaching people. Just because you're good at teaching people doesn't mean you can get them to create results. It takes a third type of skill to know how to do it, or know the principles of it, to know how to explain it in a way they understand, but then to actually get people to get the results. And I think that's the difference between a good coach and a bad coach. It's not necessarily that they don't know their stuff. It's that they don't know how to get the results from other people. Because I think for a lot of people, it's tempting just to be like, oh, just give it here. I'll quickly do it for you. That's not teaching them anything.
No.
It's like, what questions do you need to ask to make them feel like, or what do you need to tell them? What do you need to help your clients realize so that they feel like they can do this thing that's scaring them?
The answer to that is I stay curious. I ask them questions. I put things back on them.
Yeah.
We have a framework. We have trainings. We have PDFs. We have PowerPoints. I'm giving them all the marketing knowledge, but only they can know why they're stalling on something, or why they're, beating themselves up about something.
I find marketing is like dating, and marketing is like losing weight. Both of those things. So in terms of dating, the funnel is essentially like that, meeting someone to the proposal. It's that thing. Like, you don't want to come on too strong and that whole journey. Then the actual doing of the marketing is like losing weight. Like, you can know that you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, right? You can know that, whether you believe it or not, whatever. We're not going into this. But you can know that I need to eat less and I need to eat more fruit and vegetables in order to lose weight. Do you do it? Or I need to exercise and eat better to lose weight. Do you do it? No. Why not? Because there's emotional triggers happening up there. did you sleep enough last night?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're depriving yourself? Do you feel like, oh, I'm going to go hungry? You're not going hungry, not eating for a couple of hours, but like, what else is happening? Do you have a hormonal imbalance? Like, what else is happening? There's psychological, there's physiological things that stand in your way, and marketing is exactly the same. Like, how did you sleep last night? I didn't sleep great last night, and it's taken me an entire day to actually warm up to feel like myself again. 2 coffees, Coke, food later, not Coke.
Coca-Cola.
That would have been easy.
And I think what's standing out to me there and what you're saying is that marketing used to be easier because it was by these big corporations with big budgets. They would hire these like the Mad Men days.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of personal risk involved. And now we are putting ourselves out there. We are the faces of our business, of our brands. We are the people on social media. And that feels really scary because people are judging you. They're not judging some corporation that you're marketing for.
But they're also falling in love with you. They're also loving you and what you have to do. And that gives you freedom to then do whatever the hell you want.
I guess, can you dive into some of the mindset things around this whole, it gives me the opportunity for people to love me and my brand and create opportunities. And that's effing terrifying for people because of all these things from their childhood, from school, from, this need to fit in.
Yeah.
That's terrifying for people.
I find that really hard to identify with, and I really value when yourself and other people on the team really help to bring it back to the fact of how other people are feeling. Because for me, being in front of the camera is literally where I feel really happy. And if I'm having a bad day, I film content because it cheers me up. Which people are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I love performing. I'm going to start horse riding on Saturday, and I bought the outfit, of course. And all I did was stand in front of FaceTime to my mum in Germany, showing her my outfit from every angle. And she's like, I feel like I'm watching 3-year-old Maddie, who, when she used to get the camcorder out to film my sister as a baby so we can send it to my grandparents in Germany, I just bust in front of the camera all the time. And my favorite song to perform was, "And I will always love you." That was my favorite song. Now you get to hear it as well.
That was Whitney Houston, "Eat Your Heart Out."
Anyway, I'm glad I got to get that on camera. So I love performing. So I'm like, what do you mean that's scary to you? What do you mean people loving you through the camera is terrifying? That's dream come true.
You want me to tell you what comes up for me when I get in front of the camera?
Yeah.
I've been trying to think about this. Because when I was in primary school, elementary school, I was a news anchor. I was the class president. And then I think there was just things that kind of broke that down. People telling me, why do you have to be so perfect? Why are you such a high achiever? Why are you this? Why are you that? Why do you love to be the center of attention? Why are you the life of the party? You need to be quieter. You need to be smaller. And so this has been my journey of being on camera, and I'm having to unpack all of that.
I mean, I got told exactly the same things.
You didn't listen to them.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe I did for a bit.
Yeah. We were talking about this just last night, about how you felt like you've had to make yourself smaller for a long time, and all of a sudden started feeling like yourself again.
And ironically, that's when I actually became physically smaller. But it was never
you
really
got
about
healthier.
Yeah, it was never about the weight. I think it was more just there was definitely, I always knew that the weight that I was holding was emotional, and it's almost like this protection weight. Yeah, I was always told that I'm an attention seeker, that in talent quests, I used to do them every year. I hosted the talent quest one year when I was in year 5 or 6. People used to make fun of me for when I was singing and dancing and all this type of stuff. And I think in high school, I really did kind of minimize myself. I don't know. I just feel like I had this compulsion that I still just love to perform. But yeah, I stopped dancing, I stopped singing, I stopped performing and all of that. I don't know what the answer is.
I think it's becoming self-aware and realizing oh wow, this is something I actually like, and this is a desire I have, and I don't feel shame about it as well. It is okay to want your brand to be huge. It is okay to want your personal brand to be big. It is okay to want those things.
when I tell people like I want to be famous, they kind of like scoff.
Oh, I still giggle.
Yeah, but why?
Because it's just not something people say, but it's so admirational. Is that the word?
Admirable.
Admirable.
Well, it's kind of like that whole influencer thing again. It's almost like you're self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Maybe I am. Probably.
Well, no, it's this. We have the tall poppy syndrome thing here in Australia. I was taught that at one of the businesses I worked
Your
for.
Australiana induction meeting.
One of the businesses I worked for, I was like posting social media stuff and kind of like praising our brand. And my boss was like, oh, no, we got to be really careful. There's this thing called tall poppy syndrome. And, being from America, I don't know if we're just good at talking ourselves up and being main character energy. And
yeah.
But then you go and you travel and you go, Americans are always the loudest. They're always the most obnoxious. They're always this. And so then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like that.
Do you notice that as an American traveling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially, I won't pick on a certain demographic right now.
Old white men?
Yes. I've been in places where it's like, what do you mean you don't take the American dollar? It's like, we're not in America. I've got some Canadian clients. I've got some American clients.
Yeah.
I've got Australian clients. I think I vibe with all of my clients, which is amazing because Maddie attracts them and she converts them and then they work with me and somehow we vibe.
What you don't see though is that if I know they won't work with you, I don't sign them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see that.
No, you don't. You don't see who I do get coming through. We actually don't get a whole lot of bad fits these days. I think our content does a really good job of filtering that out. But if I'm like, not feeling this, I will end the conversation and I'll just go, I don't think we're right. Like, there's no shame in saying that. Every time I say that, I get 3 more clients that are a better fit for us.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's so powerful for all business owners.
Well, that comes back to mindset again. And that comes back from this idea of you can't be in scarcity. You can't be in use scarcity in your marketing. Don't use it in your own life. You need to. And okay, here are signs that you are living in scarcity in your own life. You won't buy things like new underwear because no one sees that. Well, it depends what your relationship status is, but you won't spend money on things like underwear because you're like, oh, it's not really important. What else will you not do? You won't say no to clients. You are scared to charge more.
You're scared to take breaks.
You're scared to take breaks.
That's huge.
You will always look for the cheapest option because you don't believe you are either worth spending more or you think it's a waste of money to spend more. Yeah.
And just like not getting support. Like I've always had this really DIY mindset when it comes to my health, when it comes to so many things. And as I'm in my 30s now and I keep investing in other people, like it comes back 10 times. Like I struggled with IBS for like 7-8 years and I worked with a nutritionist when I was 30 and my IBS is pretty much healed. I'm 34 now. Like
miracle.
And it resolved itself pretty quickly, but I was reading all the articles. I was like, I'm a smart person. I can do this on my own.
I was the same for a really long time. And it wasn't until 2020 when I hired my first business coach, which I couldn't afford at the time, but I just had my second baby and my husband hated me because I was a ball of anxiety. And he didn't hate me. He's always been very patient, but
it was struggle town.
It was not a good time for anyone. I'd just gotten over a period of burnout. Then I had my second. And then I was just like, okay, I need to do something drastic because if I don't do something, I need to stop what I'm doing. I can't live like this. And so I hired my first business coach and she helped me take the business to $100,000 in revenue each month.
Each month.
Which I forgot about.
Yeah.
I forgot that she helped me get that far. I worked with her for 18 months.
I remember when I started working for you and you would say, she would just check in with you and go, where's your Instagram posts this week? Where's this? Where's that? Like just holding you accountable.
Yeah. And she's a great coach, but she's not like the world's best coach by any means. Like I'm not trying to say that she's not a great coach. Like she definitely was.
She didn't hold any secrets.
Yeah. She didn't have, there are coaches like her everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that she was doing that was particularly special. She had her own unique way of doing it. In fact, she was an ex-accountant, she was a trained accountant. That really helped me because I struggled a lot with finances. But it's like there was nothing really that secret about what she was doing. But she did introduce me to this idea of manifestation, which I then fully stepped into. But I always, in the back of my mind, had this feeling I was missing spirituality. But I thought that spirituality was purely religion. And I was like, do I start going back to church as a Catholic? And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. I've done Catholic schooling my whole life. I don't know if that's what I need right now. What's funny, though, is when I've stepped into the spirituality stuff, I've realized that the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, like everything, they're all saying the same thing.
How to be a good person.
Yeah. How to be a good person, how to trust in a higher power, that if you take care of yourself and the people around you, good things will happen to you, that you don't need to live in scarcity because you will be provided for if you have faith. And like all of the, getting goosebumps talking about it. But that is ultimately, that's the end game. That is what we need to do. And when you do those things, good things happen to you. And it's a constant battle, though. It's a constant reminder. Yeah. So I guess like starting as a freelancer, starting as a content creator, all of those things, it's all about mindset. Yeah. Mindset, having faith in yourself, having faith that, I don't know, I don't want to sit here and say this is a spiritual podcast by any means, but I can't deny that I do have spiritual beliefs of a higher power. Like we're on a giant floating rock in space with strangely equal proportions that shouldn't, like what's Fibonacci sequence and like all of this shit. Like you can't tell me that that's just.
I think what's a good reminder too is that this thing that we build up in our head that's big, that's huge, that's like scary, whether it's content creation, whether it's building a business, whether it's holding this big vision and being a visionary, it's that put it into perspective.
Yeah.
It's not really that big.
That's what I like to do. If I'm like getting overwhelmed with things, I like to do this thing in my brain where I zoom out of where I'm currently standing or sitting, zoom out of the Milky Way, and I'm like, well, the thing I'm worried about really isn't a big deal. Because some other, there's multiverses, there's aliens out there.
Reframing is amazing. Is that what it's called? Yeah, but so hard to do when you're like in this tunnel vision. I've been using it for parenting a lot because I have a toddler. And, it's always this feels so hard right now.
Yeah.
But is it really that big? I don't gaslight myself. I feel the feelings. But, in an hour, am I going to feel this upset? In a year, am I going to feel this upset?
And often when we were in the depths of it, like my kids are 4 and 7 now, so kind of almost out. We now get big kid problems, but you just step away for 2 minutes,
reset, and
that's all you need. You not like want to punch a wall.
That's either like going outside, that's talking to someone else that can help you put it into perspective. That's all of those things. Yeah,
it's like sometimes I don't know. I really feel it for single parents, or there's a lot of parents around here, including our colleagues, who are with their kids solo for weeks at a time because their husbands work away, their partners work away. It's like to be on your own, that's tough. To not have that space.
In business and parenting.
Yeah, to be on your own sucks. And we aren't overly people.
Yeah. I love being by myself.
I like being by ourselves, but we still, even last night we were saying, we recognize the need for community, for feedback, for
doing hard things, having hard conversations as well.
Like as much as I hate to say it, it's like it is all about people. As much as I've tried to avoid it, because like you in primary school, I had a hard time feeling a bit different, and I always did feel a bit different growing up in high school and everything. I found people quite challenging, but it's like without people, what are you doing? Who are you helping? Who are you being helped by? What are we doing here?
All about connection.
Yeah.
And that's like with any challenge, with social media, with marketing, with anything, it's like, let's stop focusing on the platforms. Let's start focusing on people. Just starting conversations, asking questions, being curious.
It's the same with your business and charging prices. Like you can't be expected to do a great job if you're charging peanuts and you're stressed about how you're going to make ends meet. You're going to do a better job if you're swimming in money with all the opportunities to hire more support, to hire a coach to coach you, to go and invest in that course. That's going to make you a better person, a more valuable person than being cheap for this client.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
If you are charging not enough, you are doing your clients a disservice.
Charge more. charge more. And then you can invest in learning. You can invest in software. You can invest in people.
Now, just to round things off, if you are a freelancer or an agency owner, or you're wanting to get into have a marketing business, an MBA, Marketing Boss Academy is 100% where you need to go. Don't talk about this course too much. It kind of sells itself because it really is my brain packaged up into everything that you need to know in order to avoid the pitfalls that I did over the last 9 years. We will be upgrading this offering to include more support, but you need to have done MBA in the first place. So make sure that's what you do. Ideally, combine it with the full library, and then literally you will have no problems if you do what we say. I want to also thank Caroline for giving up her freelance career in order to come work for me as an employee. I couldn't do it without her. And yeah, I think if you want mentoring from Caroline as well, I know you don't mentor freelancers or...
I have a coaching call scheduled with a freelancer through marketing school and MBA. They want me to look at a strategy that they're putting towards their client at the end of May. So there you go. That's something I'd love to do. That sounds really fun and nerdy.
Yeah, it does. It's fun. I love mentoring freelancers. Unfortunately, I don't do it anymore. But yeah. Caroline is the gal for the one-on-one mentoring. If you are in the full library, remember you can upgrade at any time. For one-off coaching sessions with Caroline, you can buy 6 in a row and have them one a week. You can buy one at a time and just do it when you need it. But if you're feeling stuck in anything, I think the one-on-one feedback is like that's really useful.
I just find people have like instant clarity.
It's like you kind of jump ahead a few steps.
All that time that you could be spending in your head going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We just skip that part.
Yeah, we skip that.
Then it's just up to you to then act on it.
Yeah.
And that's not something I can control, especially with a one-off call. But go in with that mindset that you will get the answers. You just then need to take them and run with them.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Not So Kind Regards podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we would really appreciate if you left a review on whatever streaming platform you are using. It helps us to grow as a brand new podcast and to help many more business owners and content creators reach their goals, just like we hope this brought you one step closer to yours. Remember, connect with us on TikTok at Maddie Birdcage and at Birdcage Marketing, and the same handles on Instagram again. And if you really want to learn how to work with us, make sure you head to our website and book a call. We would love to speak with you.